he?
Chocolate malt cakey.
Street cart churro dough.
E.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Literary Gladiators, the show where we discuss and debate literature in all of its forms. If it's written work, it's game. Let's get the panel.
Oh, I jumped the gun again.
Every week, Larry.
It's not every week. It's the second time in history. I was just so excited to tell everybody who I am.
That's a good thing.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, why not? We'll go with that. It's a good thing.
That's Larry, by
Who
the way.
else is on the panel?
Larry, in case you forgot. Oh, I'm Jesi.
And I'm Tori.
And I'm Josh. And you may notice that we are eating Cool House ice cream. Cool House is a company that I came across at ShopRite. And they have so many unique and creative flavors. And they're non-GMO. And they're owned completely by women.
Really?
So, Larry got chocolate molten cake, Jesi has campfire s'mores, Tori's got dirty mint chip, and I have street cart churro dough. They have several new flavors that came out too that I'm looking forward to getting my hands on. Once Take the Cannoli comes to stores, I am clearing the shelves.
And getting all of the cannoli for him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's probably
share.
Yeah, we could share, because I like you.
Yay.
Aww.
Mm-hmm.
So lucky. Ha, you guys don't get cannoli ice cream.
It's okay.
Well, cannoli.
But for the very first time, we are having a Literary Gladiators double header, which means we will be releasing 2 discussions in one day.
What?
Wow.
And this
Blasphemy.
is
That's going to be a lot of work on our end. I mean, we're going to have to do 2 discussions in one day.
you can make it work,
How are we gonna
That's
do
what the
it?
ice cream's for? Fortification.
perhaps.
He's
Keep our
bribing
energy up.
us. He's
Yep.
bribing us.
Mm-hmm.
So what happened?
I treat my gladiators well.
With bribes.
Even if we don't.
If you guys come to this discussion, I'll have food for you.
And
Okay.
because today is Veterans Day, we're going to be going over a work of World War I poetry called Break of Day in the Trenches by Isaac Rosenberg. And that's another good reason, because it's a sad topic, so everything, ice cream makes everything better.
Yes.
I mean, yeah.
He's not wrong.
But
Very distracted by this ice cream.
Right.
Isaac Rosenberg's story is a very sad one. He was an artist and a poet, was looking for a job in either field, but he wasn't able to find anything steady. He had no interest in war in the military. He wasn't really in favor of military action, but he felt that it was the best way to make a consistent income for him and his mother. So he enlisted. Because of his height, he was no more than 5'3". He was a bantam. He was in the bantam battalion, and he would write poetry while in combat and in the trenches, but finding paper was an issue, which shouldn't be shocking. But he was killed in. They say he was killed in combat in 1918. He was only 28 years old.
Oh my god.
So
he wrote this poem while he was in the military.
yeah, he wrote this. This was during the military, and because vermin has become a theme on our vermin and rodents have become a theme on our channel.
I wouldn't necessarily call bunnies rodents.
Right? They're super cute.
But people argue that rats can be cute too. And they're
people
But
smart.
bunnies.
Some
Tori
people,
gets it.
some people eat rats.
Some people eat rabbits too.
I was going to say rabbits are,
Mm-hmm.
Well, I
I'm
would
just
eat a
gonna
rabbit.
sit over here in all my ignorance.
But the discussion starter is, how do you feel the speaker sees the rat in this poem, and in turn, how do you feel the rat sees the speaker?
first part, I would say, as rat. He sees it as a rat.
Just a rat. Like,
I don't think so. That's
rat.
Well, he makes the comment about how it's going to go over to the other side, right? So, I mean, there's that. And so it's like, the rat's not involved in the war, doesn't have care. Like, you know, what they're doing or anything like that. So, I mean, I think that's...
In a way, he personifies the rat, though, because he says, and I quote, first, he describes it as being queer and sardonic, but then he also says...
As you know, rats are wont to be. Sardonic.
Droll rat, they would shoot you if they knew your cosmopolitan sympathies. Now you have touched this English hand, you will do the same to a German. Soon, no doubt, if it be your pleasure, to cross the sleeping green between. Which, it's very interesting how he makes that remark about how anything that is that goes from one side and transitions to the other is subject to backlash and termination. But the rat doesn't see the opposition. He's just, in a way, the rat has more freedom. He feels that the rat is being arrogant, but the rat's, if anything, wondering what the human's doing in its area.
Yeah, there's definitely
Rah!
Checkers!
rats.
Checkers
Oh,
all
God.
over again.
Oh boy. Anyway, but
I'm having flashbacks.
It's just a horrible time.
Moment of silence for
Relief
checkers.
from that.
No, but I guess in a sense, yeah, I definitely feel that, like, there's that superimposed sensation of, like, that's how he perceives the rat. There's this internalized, like, anger, and it's being directed at the rat, which it doesn't necessarily mean that he 100% believes that's what the rat feels and thinks, and it's just an embodiment.
A little bit of envy, more so.
Yeah, he's very envious
anger.
of the freedom of this rat who literally doesn't have to worry about sides and staying alive and weaponry and who's going to try and gun him down. It's just a rat. It's a rat being a rat and running around being a rat.
Yeah.
Exactly. He's a rat.
Doing rat things. So, I definitely would see that, like, he sees the rat as this unobtainable goal of freedom from being a human, and the rat just sees everybody as, you know, pieces of the environment to avoid. Or run over because it's not causing him harm.
But otherwise, it's interesting. I think that we very much underestimate what life was like in the trenches, because it was much more cramped, disgusting, and just, it was in the bowels of the earth, as he says.
It is not a way to
And
live.
I think that
it is inhuman.
War is inhuman, but yet we still find it as a way to enforce public policy. But
yeah, the stuff that they had to go through is unimaginable. So yeah,
it's almost as if they're living like rats, because rats are often interacting with sewage regardless of what it is, and vice versa with the rats and this rat. It almost seems like he has a bit more of a greater ground, which is almost something that could and should be applied to humanity, but it's humanity themselves that restricts themselves. So, and it was very interesting that Paul Fussell, he often writes about literature and war, he said that this is his favorite war poem of all time. So
there's a lot of raw emotion in it. And it actually took me several times to read the poem because of the use of words that are applied in certain places, it kind of made it almost hard to read. For some reason, it took several times for me to like look this over to kind of catch what was going on.
I agree with you. I think that
I
it
still
did.
get what's going on with the poppies.
Poppies are they are often associated with fallen soldiers.
I know that. But, like, that last line, I didn't get the last line.
Oh, you mean
I was sorry.
I was just, I can't think of that off the top of my head.
Will you please elucidate?
poppies
Something
whose
about
roots are in
poppies.
man's veins?
Yeah.
I think he's so close to death that he's pretty much becoming the society's definition of the fallen hero.
Mm.
And
Okay.
but right before that, there's a poem about in the trenches, which there were poppy. And this book of First World War poems from the front, poppies all over it. So it's pretty much it's kind of like the role that matzah bread has in the Israelites and their quest for salvation against the Pharaoh during Passover.
Interesting.
So
Whenever I think of poppies, and I don't have anybody in my family that actually was in the military, so I kind of didn't attribute it to the fallen hero. I was thinking of like languidness and like sleep, because I know poppies.
Like Wizard of Oz.
Yeah, unfortunately for that, but I also know of like opiates, and like that's usually, you know, opiate were derived from poppies, and that's where I went with it. Was
And
like
that's
a
what-
somnolent.
and that can be applied to this too, and that's probably why it's become standard. And even poppies made up the holiday of it's Remembrance Day. It was Day of the Poppies or Poppies something. It incorporated its name into the holiday.
You used to always see the VFW guys selling poppies on like Memorial Day and stuff like that. Right? Remember that?
So I didn't know there was that iconography behind it. So interesting.
Alrighty then, do we
Yeah,
have
but-
any final thoughts?
No, I was just going to say that that's interesting that you mentioned the morphine, right? Or the opiates. Because of the vein, right? Maybe that's got something to do with that.
I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, that's kind of the connections of, you know, poppies and opiates, and usually would be old school injected into the veins. So there's medicinal reasoning behind that, but I have like a medicine.
Painkiller.
Yeah, painkillers. Yeah, exactly. So that numbness and that sleeping and that kind of stuff. So that's where I went with that.
Which could also attribute to the feeling of dying and death. Numbness.
And there's also the like the PTSD aspect of it. You know, a lot of the times people come back from the war and they're very changed, and they try to numb themselves from that kind of stuff. So, I don't know. That's where my brain went. Anyway,
Good stuff. Good
now I've
thoughts.
got the ice cream.
Mm.
Kind of a
You're
bummer.
right, happy moments.
Great, great chat.
Found my happiness in some s'mores.
Ice cream is really good.
Yes, it is. But yeah, it's a sad poem. We're not trying to be disrespectful to the poem or the content. It's just a real bummer.
War in itself is sad and outrageous and angering. People are dying just because leaders can't agree on something. So, if you're interested in checking out this poem and other World War I poetry, here is First World War Poems from the Front. And this includes poetry from Isaac Rosenberg, Wilfred Owen, Dylan Thomas, Lawrence Binion, Edward Thomas, Siegfried Sassoon, Robert Graves, Rupert Brooke, Charles Sorley. There's even people that were involved, even if they weren't. And I don't think it doesn't say anything about Dylan So, and I would highly encourage you to check out Cool House Ice Cream because it tastes good. It has pretty natural and raw ingredients. And I want to thank everybody for tuning in to this discussion on Literary Gladiators. Be sure to join us next time. If you are interested, we encourage you to subscribe to this channel. And also, if you are feeling very generous, check out our Patreon. Thank you, and for now, keep reading.